doing, everybody? Welcome to Apocalypse Movies. My name is Gio, and I'm here with Jake, and we are reviewing Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. This is a spoiler review in case you didn't read the title. Spoiler alert, Yondu dies. Yondu is dead. I was so sad when I saw it in theaters, and it was one of those emotional moments. And that's really what Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 has to offer. It's much more than just fun. There's a lot of heart to this story.
It is. It definitely is.
It's at its roots. It's Star-Lord bonding with his father, learning about his past. A lot of the questions that Volume 1 set up. Mm-hmm. So let's just start it off with some things that we liked. So go ahead.
Yeah. Well, you said the heart that the movie has. It's the family aspect.
Family. Not to get all Vin Diesel.
Yeah, right? But they did kind of pull the Fast and Furious thing. It is all about family in this movie. And,
it really is.
It's not just about Star-Lord and Ego or Star-Lord and Yondu. It's Yondu and Rocket or Drax and Mantis. Gamora and Nebula. Mm-hmm. And so there's all kinds of things in this movie that go back to the phrase of family. And to a lot of people that hits home. It's heartfelt. It's heartwarming. It's a different kind of comic book movie when you do that. Obviously, the Fast and Furious movies do that. We've seen a couple other movies do that, but this movie does it so well. You feel for every one of these characters as you're watching them. Yeah. And one thing that James Gunn does so well is he's really, really good at action, but it doesn't ever overtake the screen. And these characters are always in the center of the story. Yeah. No matter how much action is going on. The one great example of that is the opening credits when we're following Baby Groot. Mm-hmm. And seeing, how Groot is as a character. Yeah. And all this giant action is going around in the background. Mm-hmm. And so that's something I appreciate from Gunn just because he realizes it's not just a big action spectacle. Yeah. It's not this giant, $200 million comic book movie. It's a great story and great characters, and he really means it to be that way. And that's why the Guardians franchise is loved so much by so many people, and they consider it the best corner of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Mm-hmm. It's an enjoyable ride, and we go there for multiple reasons: the action, the fun, the characters,
the music.
The music is great again. Mm-hmm. A lot of people may not recognize the songs that are in this movie because a lot of the more popular ones were used in the first movie. Yeah. But it fits the story so well, and there's so many things to love from this movie. I mean, Chris Pratt as Star-Lord this time around is fantastic. I really appreciated more Gamora this time around and Nebula. That relationship is really, really strong.
Their chemistry.
I'm interested to see how it goes in the Avengers Infinity War too, like how it's kind of going to evolve and if Nebula has a giant role. Because after this movie, we know that her one goal is to hunt down Thanos. Yeah. That's what she's after.
And they talk about it in the movie, how he ripped her arm out, ripped her eye out.
Yeah, like every time.
Really graphic stuff.
Example, so Gamora, Nebula, they're sisters, Thanos' daughters, obviously. And as kids, they were spawned into battle to see who were stronger. And each time one of them would lose, Thanos would rip a part of them off. Mm-hmm. And Nebula reveals that she never beat Gamora. Yeah. Gamora was always the one that would come out on top, which is why we see Nebula as this exoskeleton of some kind of metal.
It's like mechanic,
Yeah,
it's all
and it's
machinery.
It's deep stuff, and we never expected a movie like this to go that deep.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that's just a great example of the emotions that are brought on top of the action. And lastly, for me, the humor is just insane. It's so much better than the first one. Yes. There's so many good moments in this movie from each character. Obviously, there's characters like Drax and Baby Groot that kind of steal the show.
Baby Groot every time.
Yeah, Baby Groot's amazing. Drax had some fantastic one-liners again. But all around the humor is great. You get it from characters like Nebula. Yeah. You get it from Ego. You get it from Star-Lord and Gamora. I mean, it's all over the place. And James Gunn, again, he knows how to handle it. He knows how to not throw too much at you at the wrong point in time. Yeah. And it's just, he's such a good director with this type of movie, and I'm so glad he's coming back for the third movie. It makes sense. And directing. It makes sense. So, I mean, there's so much to love about this movie.
Yeah, to not repeat what you said, I will say that this movie, it's more character focused. Yeah. The first movie did such a great job at introducing the characters and them being, who they are and why they are. And this movie takes that to an even deeper level. Like a good example of that is the bond between Rocket and Yondu.
Yeah.
You know, they're Yondu is just pressing on him. Why do you try to push the world away from you? You do the things you do. It's just like, you think I don't understand? I'm exactly like you. And that stuff, it really, it brings that connection even closer. Like that bond, like, again, family. But it's so good here. And then the bond between Star-Lord and his dad, played by Kurt Russell, who is great in this movie.
He's so good.
Oh my God, he's so good. And just the light moments, the moments with so much levity, like when they're playing ball, like tossing that, and they're really connecting. It's a father-son moment. It's something that everybody can relate to. And the same goes for a lot of the themes, the themes about purpose, betrayal, all family, it's much more than just a fun movie. It's things that you can relate to.
It has layers.
Layers,
many
exactly.
layers.
Layers upon layers and layers. And for me, the standout character was Yondu. Michael Rooker, I think he's so good, even better than he was in the first movie.
Yeah. Well, his character went through he went through basically an onion. He basically became an onion where his layers were just pulled back.
Yes.
One by one.
Yeah.
And, it's a spoilers, but the Ravagers, his Ravager crew was killed by a mutinized Ravaging crew. And
they kind of tore in half.
Exactly. And Rocket and Groot and Yondu were all, they escaped that crew of Ravagers. And that's where the Rocket moment happened that you were talking about with, I forget the other, Sean Gunn's Ravaging name.
Sean Gunn. Who is he? Like the coat? He's not the coat captain.
He's like his first in command.
The first mate.
I forget it. Kraglin. That's his name. Yeah, Kraglin. So Yondu. We saw him be a fun character in the first one. We knew that he grew, or he raised Star-Lord. He kept him for himself and everything. All of that. We know why in this movie.
Yeah.
It's all broken down, and it just gives that much more to the character of Yondu. And then, like Gio said, he's the death at the end of the movie, and it's like ginormous. It's like a big death, especially to Star-Lord.
It really hits you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, there's certain things that happen, and it leads to this moment, and then it's like, wow, like we didn't realize it would be that so impactful, but it was just that impactful.
Yeah, he's not just a Ravager, or like a leader of the Ravager. He really did care about Peter.
Yeah.
He really cared about him, and I think his last words were like, he may have been your father, but he ain't your daddy.
He ain't your daddy.
It's like, he might be your biological father, but
That's just something Yondu would say. He's not your daddy. But I also love the line when Star-Lord is fighting Ego. He says, "I don't use my head when I use the arrow. I use my heart." Which is like something a total father would say. Yeah. So it just it works out in the end, and I'm glad that they kind of fleshed that out, because it really, really worked, and to counterbalance the whole thing going on with Ego, it was a great story plot. So.
Yeah. So no movie's perfect. No. Is there anything that maybe stood out to you that's negative, or something that didn't work as well as the movie tried to make it, or anything that just
so I don't ever really like comparing the first to the second, or you're not in a franchise, and I think the story's a little bit weaker in the sequel. The first one kind of just flowed a little better, and it's nothing against Kurt Russell or the character of Ego or whatever. I guess the pieces just weren't all there for me.
Okay.
And also in the middle of the movie, I kind of felt a little bit of a pacing thing.
Yeah.
It slowed down just a bit for me, kind of when they got towards Ego and learned about everything. I understand why they needed to find out all this information, but it definitely slowed down a bit for me. I don't know, I guess those are kind of the two big for me. There's so many positives that outweigh the negatives. It's hard to talk about the negatives.
Yeah.
It's just a fun movie, but those are kind of the two that stick out to me. I guess if I was to say one character, it would be Ego, just because I felt like he was almost one-dimensional in a way.
Yeah.
It was almost like we knew what was going to happen.
Oh, you saw
like within seconds of meeting him.
For me, it was really Mantis.
Yeah, she was the tipping point. Yeah, so
but who's good in this movie?
She is, and she's totally different character, which is very interesting because the way she fits in with the Guardians is something we haven't seen before, and what she brings to the table is even more interesting.
Yeah. For me, I share some of the negatives that you do. I think the first act in particular is kind of choppy and
it tries to get you to one place by doing all these different things.
I mean, the action sequences are great. We get a lot of it, but next thing you know, out of nowhere comes Kurt Russell, Ego, and the next thing you know, it jumps to Yondu and back to that, and it felt a little, like unpaced, Yeah,
the characters kind of all over the place, so they had to do different cameras and whatnot.
Yeah, and I mentioned it before, but that twist with it's not really a twist.
Honestly. No, I guess
Kurt Russell, Ego is the main villain in the movie, and you kind of see it coming. They keep playing it. It's like, okay, we know it's gonna happen. Mantis, come on, get to it. But other than that, I really don't have that many negatives.
No, it's at this point it'd be nitpicking.
Yeah,
I mean, there's just so many positives that way than negatives.
Yeah, a totally fun movie. And real quick, let's talk about the post-credits scene. So, there's five. There's five in there. For me, obviously, the standout is Adam Warlock.
It's the one that stands out the most just because it's the most important.
Yeah.
Like the other four, they're some of the best post-credit scenes Marvel's ever done, but they don't really... They don't impact the Marvel Cinematic Universe like the Adam Warlock one does.
No. Like, once he enters the game, that's changes everything. And I believe in the comics, he starts off bad, doesn't he?
Yeah, well, he has I forget the name. I forget the name of his alter ego, but it's like a bad side of him where he goes bad, then he goes good, and then he goes bad. And,
okay.
He's all powerful. Like, he's the guy. In the Infinity Gauntlet comic books, he's the one who destroys Thanos, and he's the reason why, and the power he brings. And he was teased in the first one with the cocoon,
which now we play a factor at all.
Now we know that wasn't him in the collector's collection.
Yeah.
And I forget it's the Sovereign are the gold people in the movie.
Yeah.
He's basically a cocoon from the Sovereign. The Sovereign are almost growing him or building him, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But yeah, his power is like no other in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Out of all the cosmic people that are in this series of movies, he's the one. So it's going to be very interesting. Is he the villain for Volume 3, or is he going to...
Infinity War, maybe?
Maybe, or could he be maybe like a good guy in Volume 3 and then turn bad for another Avengers or something larger down the road.
Like if he's a baddie from Phase 4.
Like a second Thanos in a way where Adam Warlock is the one we have to go after. So, I mean, it brings a ton of questions. So.
More questions than answers.
Yeah.
And I think so the obvious one is Adam Warlock, but I think the funniest one was Sean Gunn's character.
With the arrow.
Whistle.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And then he whistles and it goes straight into Drax's chest.
Well, I love that he has... he just looks funny with the fit on his head. It just looks super weird, but it's also interesting because, like, are they setting him up for a bigger character?
I hope so.
And it would be cool because he has a lot to learn.
Yes.
And he was actually really a good bright spot in this movie. And Sean Gunn is the director, or the brother of James Gunn. And he plays Rocket on the set of Guardians.
Capture.
Yeah, he's in a green suit, and then he plays Kraglin, and he's a light spot of the movie. He's such a wacky, different actor.
Yeah.
And he fits in with that kind of crew. I'd be interesting to see how he fits into the role of, does he replace Yondu, or does he kind of join this Guardians crew going into Volume 3? For me, one of the funnier ones was Teenage Groot. Star-Lord coming in, Chris Pratt coming in, playing the dad role, saying, "I'm tired of picking up all your shit," basically. And Groot's over there saying, playing his game or whatever he is. And
you can see Peter as a dad.
Yeah, which is really cool. And, I had said a long while back when they announced Baby Groot that it'd be really cool to see Groot grow over the marketing, like through marketing images and trailers, like see him get bigger and bigger. I would love to see that happen, like leading into Infinity War, because the Avengers and Guardians are going to need him for this big battle. Mm-hmm. Like, he's a huge part of it.
Yeah.
So he has a long time to grow, and obviously we'll probably see regular Groot size again. But
I think we're going to see Elder Groot.
Well, and that's what James Gunn said. He said we haven't seen Groot in his full force yet.
Yeah.
Which is just crazy to think, because look how powerful he was in the first one.
Yeah.
Which is just
crazy
insane.
Powerful.
Yeah.
I think something along the lines of like Two Towers. Remember those trees?
That it would be so much fun, and imagine that in a Hulk sequence.
Oh yeah.
Groot and Hulk just kind of going at it.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of Hulk, and I don't know if this is true or not, but it's something that I had caught and kind of glimpsed in the movie. But when Rocket, Groot, and Yondu are kind of going through the dimensions and all their faces, the first dimension they go through, I'm pretty sure we saw Hulk and Thor fighting on the ground.
Really? I'm
pretty sure. This is nothing official. I'm just like, out of my blank eye, my naked eye, I could have swore I saw Hulk and Thor fighting as they went through dimensions really quickly. And I'm waiting to see it a second time to...
Yeah, it was going so fast.
Yeah, and I want to make sure I see it the second time, and I haven't found anything online, but there was two things sitting there on the ground doing something, and I could have swore I saw Hulk and Thor fighting.
Yeah.
Which doesn't really have an impact, but it would have been cool. Does it play into Thor Ragnarok? Do we see the Milano or their ship flying, you know, through dimensions as they're fighting or whatever it is? But if it is in fact, it's just a really cool Easter egg.
Yeah.
It's something to look forward to in a second viewing. So.
Yeah, for sure. Did you see the Grand Master?
I did.
Yeah,
I did.
Yeah. And I'm like, what is he doing there?
Yeah, I mean,
and Easter egg. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, then we also have the those alien beings with Stan Lee that we haven't talked about.
The Watchers. Yes.
Which is big because not only are they're huge in the comic books, but it was thought that Fox owned the rights to them with X-Men. All of these years it was thought that they went with the X-Men rights so long ago. So it's interesting if they play into the fold. Is there some kind of deal behind our back, or is it kind of like Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, where they can go both ways?
Right. But so far, all we've known is that it's Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver.
Yeah, exactly.
But, I mean, who knows? This could be a sign of things to come. Maybe Fantastic Four. And
well, that's where they first debuted, is in the comic books. They were part of the Fantastic Four line.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, so it's interesting. Like, maybe there was a deal behind that we don't know about with the Fantastic Four, and maybe Marvel gave up something that hasn't been used yet, but now that we know that the Watchers are in the universe, they play a giant role, because just like they watch everything going on in the universe. They make sure everything goes the way it's supposed to go, and if something doesn't go right, they fix it, or they they get involved. Are they in Infinity War? We don't know. Maybe it was just a cool Easter egg with Stan Lee. I mean, how the hell does he get in space, first of all, and how the hell is he
going to get into astronauts?
Well,
how's he going to get back?
So how's he going to get back to get a cameo in Infinity War? That's the big question. So.
Yeah, a lot of questions, man. A lot of questions. Well, we can go on and on about this movie. We really love it. We're going to talk more about it. We're going to watch it again, probably 2-3 more times.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
We have to give a score. I'm going to stick with I gave a little mini review on Instagram at Apocalypse. Check us out. I gave it a score of 7.5 out of 10, and right now I feel confident. Maybe when I watch it the second time, I might go up. But I really enjoyed the movie. On the surface, it's a fun movie. You'll have a good time, lots of laughs. But beneath it, there's just so much heart. There's so much, important themes, and it's just all around, I think, a really, really good movie. So, 7.
Yeah, the movie is what it's exactly what the trailers give off. I mean, it's Guardians of the Galaxy. You wouldn't expect anything more from this franchise.
Yeah.
But like Gio said, there's so much more as you watch it. I hear, when we were there, I heard kids laughing like crazy, having all parents, and it's a movie for everyone. And it has that PG-13 rating or whatever. There's a couple of cuss words, but it's worth it. And if you're looking for a movie to go see, this is definitely the one, because you're going to have an absolute fun time watching it. So, but as for score, I'm actually going to bump up Gio a little bit and go at 8 out of 10. A little bit lower than the original movie for me, but still very, very enjoyable. One of Marvel's best. It just, the Guardians is such a bright spot in this universe. along with the Captain America franchise and maybe hopefully Thor Ragnarok this summer. But yeah, 8 out of 10 for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it. Definitely check it out. Let us know your thoughts in the comments section. We'd love to hear from you guys. And from Apocalypse Movies, have a great day, guys.